Next up is none other than Jim Moore, who's my dad. He runs our family farm, and in addition to running our farm, he's also been able to keep our farm going through his entrepreneurial endeavors. And one of those main things is his compost and manure business. And in conjunction with that is the trucking company he has that hauls coals and ugly fruit. And you know, the ugly company was really kind of an extension of his spirit, of what he's done to keep our farm going. And my experience working with him as a kid, and you know, him teaching me how to drive truck and then driving truck for him has given myself the opportunity and exposure to just learning more and more and more about fruit and all the economics that go into why this current situation with ugly fruit not having a home exists. So here he is, Jim Moore, my dad, and the original inspiration for what is now the Ugly Company.
I'm James Moore. I'm 58 years old. I've been a lifelong farmer, and I farm on the family property that's been in the family for 3 generations in Kingsburg, California. I started out just farming with my father. We had some bad years with the grapes. We've always had trucks, so I started hauling fertilizer, manure and compost, gypsum. We have different types of trailers. One of the types of trailers we also used to haul coals with. Well, we're not using it for grapes at that time of year, so it was just a natural fit, because you want to try to use your equipment as efficiently as possible. So I started hauling the coals, and used to haul them to dairies. Had several dairies close up, so there wasn't as much demand for the coals, and so the final resting place, if you will, is to make compost out of them, which is not the greatest use of the fruit, but that's the end of the line for them. So you compost them, you put the compost back out in the field, and then start over for the next year. I enjoy a lot of things about farming. I enjoy being outside, I enjoy working with my hands. I like getting dirty, so that's a plus. Farming is a dirty business. You know, one of the most rewarding things is that you're actually fulfilling a big need, because everybody likes to eat. Farming is always evolving with new technology and new practices, new understanding of soil health and crop health. There's different chemicals you can use to kill pests. You know, it's always evolving. When farming first started, people just realized, oh, this is growing here, and if I take these seeds off of it, I can grow it where I want it to grow. And so that's how it started. And then people learned to breed plants to be more valuable, to produce more. A farmer doesn't grow stuff to throw it away, you know, like these culls. So I figured out, well, I can make compost out of it, but this is the bottom of the barrel as far as where this fruit should be. Somebody should have eaten this fruit instead of it being thrown away. I've been hauling culls for roughly 18 years, and I have dumped between 100 and 125 loads of cull fruit every year, and each load is roughly 25 tons. So you can calculate that's a lot of tonnage wasted on the ground. And this is just one medium-sized packing house out of dozens of packing houses in the valley. My son Ben started the Ugly Company. He would help me haul fruit. He's been out on the farm since he was a little kid. He's seen this fruit just get wasted. I mean, he would come with me in the truck. We'd go to pick up a load of culls. Oh, they just dumped these in. Let's get some culls to eat some fruit while we're driving, hauling them to dump them, you know. So we'd be eating fruit. So he came up with the idea to, instead of throw all of this fruit out, which is edible, he came up with the idea to dry it. That way people can eat it. And instead of throwing it away or composting it, putting it back out in the dirt, people can now eat the fruit. The fruit that Ben uses to make the ugly fruit it comes from the packing house. It hasn't been in the dirt yet. It's intercepted on its way to these grape tanks that I haul the culls in, that I dump to make compost. So he takes it and processes it, dries it. Whatever he can't use because there's only so much demand, that ends up in the grape tanks, ends up in the dirt, ends up being composted. There's nothing wrong with it, which is what makes it a shame that so much of the regular fruit is thrown out.
So based on your perspective, what makes a piece of fruit ugly that ends up in your hole?
So from my perspective, packing houses have certain standards that they have to pack to, certain sizes, certain ripeness levels, certain visual standards. When the fruit doesn't meet those standards, it ends up being culled. And so when it goes to the cull line, they might make juice out of it. The ugly company gets a hold of it and dries it and makes dried fruit. Whatever can't be used there ends up in the hole being composted. My dad always had a saying. He grew up during the Depression where everything was tight. People were scrambling to get by. So his saying was, use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without. And that's kind of a farmer's motto, because farmers are always trying to use everything they can to get the job done. This fruit that we're dumping here, like I've said, this is the end of the line. Farmers do not grow food to dump it out in a pile and compost it. That's not the way we want to go. So farmers and packers will try to use all the options they can to utilize the fruit. There's places that'll take it for juice. There's places that will take it, for different uses. Ben has come up with the ugly fruit to dry the fruit. So once all those options are exhausted, there's still an excess of fruit, and this is where it ends up, in places like this. That doesn't mean that this fruit was bad. You could have eaten it until the moment it hits the ground in that swampy mess there. It was perfectly edible. So, like I said, farmers don't like to waste it. It's hard enough to grow it, take care of it all the whole year round. You got to prune, water, fertilize, spray the insects, pick it, pack it, and then if it doesn't make grade, you try to do whatever you can with it, and then this is where it ends up if there's no place else for it to go. Farmers use all the tools that they can get a hold of to get the job done and produce food. The Earth's population is not getting any smaller, so we need more food. There's already a lot of hungry people in the world, so we need to use what we have, what we produce, as efficiently as possible. And that's one reason I'm pretty proud of Ben for getting this ugly company started, because he's taking something that's thrown away and he's actually converting it into something that people can eat.